Ready? So where's sound always up? Yeah. Good morning. As customary, start off today 2 minutes and 14 seconds recognizing the 134 lives that have been lost in the city of Oakland to homicide this year. Please give me 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Thank you. As customary, anytime the Oakland Police Department has an officer-involved shooting, I come at the next available moment to come before the community and speak about that officer-involved shooting event. We had an officer-involved shooting on December 24th at 4:30 p.m. in the 500 block of 98th Avenue. A community member called OPD to report that an individual had brandished a firearm at them and that they were afraid. Officers responded to the area, and upon the officer's arrival, the officer made contact with the individual who called, and once the officer entered the building, he was met by the individual, was assaulted, and the individual brandished a firearm at the officer, and the officer discharged his service weapon 3 times. The individual was not shot, was not injured as a result of the shooting. The officer was not injured, nor was the community member injured. We are currently investigating that officer-involved shooting according to department policy. The officer has been placed on paid administrative leave per policy. The Oakland Police Department's Criminal Investigations Division, our homicide team, is investigating. The District Attorney's Office did not come out on this particular investigation, but our Internal Affairs Division is investigating this, as well as the CPRA for the City of Oakland is also investigating this shooting as well. While we were responding to this officer-involved shooting and investigating this officer-involved shooting, we had our 134th homicide of the year that occurred in the 1400 block of Lakeshore Avenue. We received a call to investigate a report of a shooting in the area. Upon arrival, officers located one male adult individual suffering from gunshot wounds. That individual was transported to Highland Hospital, where unfortunately he was pronounced deceased. We had resources in that area dedicated to high visibility prior to the officer-involved shooting. Obviously, with the number of resources needed to address that shooting, those resources were shifted. We also had our patrol officers that were in the area as well when this event occurred. We have a great relationship with this community in the Lakeshore area. I've personally met with this group. We hope that any information that anybody has seen in that area, they share it with the department, as well as any video that someone has captured. We would like for them to share that information with the department as well. We continue to work hard to investigate all of these homicides. We've had some successful cases charged this month. We've had an additional 3 cases charged this month, and our clearance rate is now at 47% for the year. So to the great work of our criminal investigation division, our homicide investigators, as well as the community members that continue to share information with the department, helps make us more effective. And so we again need additional information for this particular homicide, and we'll continue to rely on the community. We also had a couple of other shootings that occurred over the weekend as well, another additional 4 shootings that we're currently investigating as well. And with that, I'll take any questions if you have any questions regarding any of these events.
Chief, it's not about this, but are you able to share any names of any arrestees or suspects in the Kevin Machida homicide?
I am not prepared to do that at this point, but as soon as we make some key investigative follow-up things that we need to do, we will make a full announcement when all 3 suspects have been arrested and charged.
Are they in custody? You have 2 in custody?
What are you referring to?
I'm sorry, the Kevin Machida case, the last I recall, it was 2 suspects were being held.
2 people have been arrested. Nobody has been charged with the Nishida homicide as of yet. They were arrested for unrelated charges. We do feel strongly that our case is progressing, and we hope at some point in the very near future that that the 3 individuals responsible for that crime are charged for it.
And Chief, with respect to the Lakeshore homicide as well as the homicide of a woman in general in that same area, can you go into more detail about the high visibility patrols that were in the area before the OIS, and then do you want to share any warnings for people who might not realize that it's a very scenic area, but there have been an uptick in robberies and shootings along that specific area?
Yeah, and I'm actually going to have Captain Jim Beer come up and speak specifically. He is the commander in charge of Area 3, which that 1400 block Lakeshore area resides in. We've been working with community for over the past month or so related to the violence that we've seen happen in the 1400 block of Lakeshore. Over the last, I'd say about 45 days, we've seen about a 60% decrease in crime in that area as a result of some of the things that Captain Beer has done to address violence in that area. We don't believe that this most recent homicide is related to past crime incidents, but we do know that this is an area where people like to come and congregate. It is a scenic area. It is a place that many people choose to come when they want to see the lake or visit the lake. We welcome that. The community members that live in that area obviously really enjoy living in that area, but we have seen an increase in crime in that area, and we've seen a greater presence, particularly in the late night hours. We've seen activity pick up in that area, and Captain Beer has been working on a specific strategy to help bring down crime in that area. So I'll let Captain Beer speak specifically about the work that's being done in the Lakeshore area.
Thank you, Chief Armstrong. Again, I'm Captain James Beer. I'm the Area 3 captain. So specifically to address some of the violent crime that we've seen along the Lakeshore corridor, like the Chief said, we were able to drive down the crime recently. That was kind of through a 2-prong approach. We had overtime units working in the area, walking and high visibility patrol, starting off in the early afternoon hours. I'm not going to put the end time out there, but they are specifically out there for a large block of time. In addition to overlap, we also had resources coming in the late evening, early morning hours of the following day. So we're utilizing overtime as well as our community resource officers, late TAC units, and patrol to address the crime and make sure there's a police presence. Now, we have seen and we do know having the police presence there greatly impacts our ability to reduce crime. Unfortunately, due to, like the chief said, the OIS and some other staffing issues, some of those resources have to be shifted this weekend. I will say, without going into specific cases, what we have seen, whenever people are loitering there, either in the evening or early morning hours, engaging in consumption of alcohol or recreational drug use, has led to contacts with other individuals in the area who we believe might be engaged in illegal activities. And unfortunately, sometimes it results in confrontations or arguments that escalate, unfortunately, into violent crime and shootings. So our biggest effort is to maintain a police presence. There will see, the residents will see contact with officers engaging in enforcement activities. We've tried to be very sensitive. Because it is a recreational area, we don't see an overly large police presence. But at times, due to, we're looking at the data, at times during where there is significant increase in crime, we've had to shift those resources there.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Captain, can you, for that involves a combination of uniform patrol and perhaps undercover, I don't want to differ, but obviously people can recognize patrol, but confirming, is there any use of undercover officers who might be there at the middle of the night to make sure things don't happen?
So our main effort is utilizing uniformed officers to prevent anything from happening in the first place. I will say we have used undercover assets, technology, and other strategies, and that's not out there all the time. That's only a focused, targeted effort, specifically at the guidance of the community and the residents in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I am wondering if you could talk about town nights.
Mhm.
You just wrapped up its first installment of town nights. Did you see that having any kind of impact on deterring violence?
Well, I think, just any additional programming is helpful, giving, people in our community a safe place or a safe space to go and participate in activities. So I did have a chance to visit some town nights as well. So I am encouraged by different programs that Department of Violence Prevention is moving forward, and I believe it's a help. I will say right now, I think, we see a real unified effort across this city, and I thank the mayor and the city leaders at the council level for all of their support. We've had, ongoing conversations about all of our concerns about crime, and I think everybody in this city is now focused on addressing gun violence across this city. And so we are, working collectively to figure out how do we get our arms around our community, and I think programs like that have really been helpful. So I look forward to more programs from Department of Violence Prevention, and OPD has definitely has been partnering and helping out as much as we can.
Any additional questions?
I think Henry.
Sorry, on the retail theft, I think one of our viewers said he or she saw an Oakland officer where he felt subcontracted to the Walgreens on Lakeshore. Do you know anything specific about confirming there are officers who are, being hired for uniform presence by the retail stores?
Yeah, we specifically Walgreens. We do work overtime assignments at the Walgreens store citywide, not just on Lakeshore, and we've been doing that for a significant amount of time, pretty much all of 2021. And it is something that we have talked publicly about. It's something that we believe helps keep that store safe. And so, yes, we do have officers deployed.
Can you talk about the 4 other shootings, please, Chief?
Yeah. So we specifically, I won't go into every one specifically unless we can give you some of that information. I think the one that we had the greatest concern was a shooting that occurred in front of Children's Hospital. It appears that a vehicle was parked in front of Children's Hospital, and then it appears that another vehicle drove in front of that vehicle that was parked, and the individuals in the second vehicle fired multiple rounds into the vehicle right in front of Children's Hospital. And so very obviously concerning for us that somebody would fire a number of rounds in front of Children's Hospital where they're trying to serve our community, but it just goes again to the callous nature of people's behavior right now, and the willingness and brazen willingness to use firearms in our community. Fortunately, nobody obviously lost their lives, but Children's Hospital did treat an individual for gunshot wounds, and so we can definitely get you more information. We did have a second shooting that occurred around Fruitvale Avenue and East 18th Avenue, where we have over 30 rounds that were fired. So we investigated that shooting as well, with an individual that sustained gunshot wounds as a result of that as well. So again, even in the midst of rain, even in the midst of a holiday season, there are individuals that are still out there committing crime. But I will say that our officers have also recovered several firearms over the weekend as well, including a couple rifles. So we are proactively looking at those that are carrying guns in our community and doing our best to try to hold them accountable by making key arrests when we can. So I believe that we are trending in the right direction. I'm optimistic about us finishing this year, but I'm also optimistic as we move into 2022 with a greater focus and hopefully a great reduction in violent crime, particularly homicides.
One last question.
How about gun buybacks? Any plans, Department of Violence Prevention, any nonprofit organizations in the community? Are we looking forward to any of those next year?
I mean, I think we are open to anything that helps us get guns off the streets. The city of Oakland has not actually sponsored a gun buyback in many years, but we have had individuals, businesses that have partnered with the department to actually provide the funding needed for those type of gun buybacks. We've seen them happen in other cities. I believe in San Francisco, they actually had over 200 firearms turned in. So if we had anybody that would like to sponsor an event like that, it's something that we would be interested in, because I believe, if we can get as many firearms off the streets as we can, it is helpful. It will help our community be safer, and then we can melt them down and use them for something positive.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
No problem. Thank you.